You listen to the show, you get the ideas, but real life happens and you never actually make the resource.
You guys, we are fixing that. We are building a new platform where every big strategy we talk about comes with a quote unquote lab kit. The templates, slides, PDFs, everything you need to just go do it already.
And we're calling it Brave New Teaching University, and we are looking for beta testers to get early access to this library.
Yes, please stop reinventing the wheel, just like we had to stop ourselves reinventing the wheel. Sign up for the beta waitlist at bravenewteaching.com/waitlist and let us do the prep work for you.
Well, hello and welcome back to Brave New Teaching. It is time for another team meeting. My name is Amanda, if you didn't already know that. Amanda and I am one half of the Brave New Teaching duo, and we are running some team meetings this season in an effort to keep things rolling in the right direction for be showing up on your podcast feed every single week. Marie and I are in one of the busiest seasons of our adulthood and our careers, and so our recording time is just so difficult to come by when the two of us are available at the same time in two different time zones. And so when we are able to get together and do recording together, we'll be bringing you more extended series, our interviews. None of it's going away. But we really wanted to make sure that you have something in your podcast every single week. So these team meetings are meant to be kind of quick little check-ins, things that are on our mind, thoughts that you can bring back to your team, really kind of tools that will help you push and prod and really get the other teachers in your department thinking about ideas and big picture things for the school year and for your students. And even if it's just you thinking about it after listening, these are meant to kind of feed your soul and keep that energy and excitement about teaching alive, because contrary to things that I've been told lately at my school, you are not 100% responsible for all of your positive energy. Some of that needs to be given to you from other people. And so we want to be a team that does that for you. So in today's team meeting, we're going to hit a couple of quick trends and things that I've seen on social media this week that I thought were interesting and I wanted to bring to your attention. And then for the bulk of the episode, I wanted to take this quick chance to walk you through the 4 reading realms. This is kind of another system that I've developed to help teachers think about teaching. Or this is what I developed with the Big Six. I've developed this with a couple of other types, like with Space Cat. Space Cat's not my own acronym, but with Space Cat and with the Big Six, they are these tools to think about how we share our teaching expertise with students in a way that works for them. And so one of the things that I came up with in order to help students engage with reading in a healthy, authentic, and genuine way is the 4 reading realms. Now, I did not have them so neatly and adorably packaged when I was in the classroom. It took a lot of space from being in it to really conceptualize what this looks like. And I am so grateful to have had the chance to take a little bit of a break from the classroom, because I think what's really hard about being in it is that it's so hard to have a bird's eye view on your practice and what you've done and what was successful. And it's very hard to teach other teachers about your craft when you're doing your craft. So as much as I want to learn from teachers in the classroom, I do, and it's so important. I can say as someone who took a temporary kind of hiatus, it really helped me be better at teaching teachers because I could actually articulate and think about what I was trying to share with them. So the 4 reading realms are the practices that I employed in the classroom for 13 years when it comes to teaching my students how to read. So we're going to dig into that today. Briefly, I do have a webinar that is free that you can sign up for that is the full in-depth experience. It is 60 minutes, but I will give you the very quick kind of overview in today's episode so you can see if this sounds like something that would really serve you or not. So without further ado, let's cue the music. You're listening to Brave New Teaching, and we are so much more than a podcast.
We give teachers the inspiration, support, and tools to challenge the status quo.
I'm Amanda, and I'm a former English teacher from Illinois.
And I'm Marie, and I'm a high school teacher from Southern California.
Join us after the show and happy hour to extend your BNT experience with instant access to our resources, workshops, and courses.
Visit shop.bravenewteaching.com/happy hour to join us today. We're so glad you're here. Enjoy the show.
So this year, I really am trying to limit my social media life. However, social media remains both as good as it is evil. I still have yet to find a place that I can connect with teachers outside of my own little tiny bubble. And as much as I love my own school and the educators I have here, really, like the brick and mortar of a school does block us off from other brilliant ideas and creativity. So as I'm saying this, right, I wanted to share from Betsy Potash runs a Facebook group called Creative High School English. We've interviewed Betsy a number of times. She's a delightful human being. Her Facebook group is enormous, but if you're not in it, it's so, so great. And again, it's called Creative High School English. And wild. I just stumbled across a comment. It wasn't even the post that was that intriguing, but I did click to see. But someone had posted about ideas for elective classes. And I've never really taught a lot of electives. I taught newspaper for a little while. I did a couple of like senior elective classes, like I did creative writing, loved it. So I did a little bit of that, but I don't know what compelled me to click on it right now in this season of my life. But anyway, this teacher responded that I'm going to read this to you. So the teacher's name is Kelsey, and she wrote, "We just changed our English department to all electives this year, and it's been going well so far. Students must take an intro to literature freshman year in their first semester, and they must take academic writing by the end of sophomore year. But then it looks like from her comment, students have 100% choice in their elective classes. So they have options like graphic narratives, mythology, creative writing, writing for business, drama, contemporary American literature, classic literature." So that they have mythology. They're adding a mythology 2, dystopian lit, and a world voices course. I thought this was just so fascinating, like the approach, right? Like I feel like we can get a lot of this through really good unit design if we're doing a traditional English 1, 2, 3, 4. We can do that. But the structural shift of not offering choice within a course you're forced to teach or forced to be in, but saying to students, you have to do this one prereq, and then you have to do this other course by the end of sophomore year. But every single thing is a choice fueled by interest in the moment. I mean, that is just so cool. It sounds like she's got a pretty small department, and it's an experiment that they're all on board with. But what a cool idea. I love teachers who push past what we've always done to try something new. And I'm sure that the result has been, very similar to what we've always done, right? You're still going to teach the units and the courses like before, but students are entering it having already made a choice to be there. That, to me, is another one of those things we can add to our list of uncomfortable shifts in, the upcoming year, is actually letting students have some of those choices. They're 15, 16, 17 years old. Why are we gatekeeping? And, this is so cool. So anyway, I wanted to throw that your way to add to your, oh my gosh, I got to tell my friend, my teammate, this idea. I thought it was so interesting. Okay, so then let's dig into the rest of our meeting today. And I wanted just to briefly overview with you what the 4 reading realms are and kind of where they came from. So if you've been teaching for a minute, you know that students are not the same. You know that students really struggle to engage with business as usual. And so in an effort to bring our expertise to students, one of the things I started doing early in my career was being blunt and very, very honest about the things that I did and did not like about what I was teaching. And so that's kind of where this whole thing began. So when I was just a young little teacher, I really did try to pretend like I liked everything that I was being forced to teach. I had a pretty packaged curriculum everywhere I worked and an expectation to teach a certain set of novels and a certain set of units, kind of all given to me without any teacher development until a little bit later. And we had some leadership changes. But all that is to say, as the longer and the harder I pushed to pretend like things were fine or to kind of lean into this novel is good just because it is. Kids can smell that nonsense from 100 miles away and they never, ever, ever engaged. They didn't. They didn't do it because they were supposed to. They didn't do it because they were getting graded. They didn't do it because of these things that somehow we've told ourselves that when I was young, I just did what I was told. Like, I really don't think we did. There are a lot of students who never did what they were told if they weren't given a good reason. And so as I started to let go of that, which was pretty quick because the other way wasn't working, I would tell students, this book is awful, or this book was really hard for me to get through, or man, I really don't like teaching this book in January. And it almost served as a hook because on the back side of that conversation was like a confession, right? Like the front side is this confession, but then the back side was this actual real reason. Right. So when students would say things like, oh my gosh, you don't like this book. And I'm like, no, I don't. And they'd say, well, why are we reading it? And I'd say, well, actually, it's because I want to talk about this. Or actually, it's because this or this is super important. And of all the books that we have, this one will really help us get there. And kids would look at me like, oh. Or I would say, oh my gosh, this book is so hard. I remember struggling with this when I was your age. And they'd be like, well, why are you making us do it, miss? I say, well, because school is where you do hard things and doing hard things makes you stronger. But I don't expect you to be perfect because I remember that this was really hard. So those kinds of conversations are what fueled what came next with more research and getting my master's. And that was to really take the reading task of each of my major units, my major types of reading, and label them and articulate them clearly to students when we were going to engage with them. What I basically have done is nothing new. Do you all remember from, oh my gosh, I want to say it was at least 10 years ago, it was a very trendy topic to talk about the purpose of reading, the purpose of reading, the purpose of reading. Put it at the top of your handouts, put it on the board. What was the purpose of reading? It's almost right. It's learning targets, but for reading, right? The purpose of reading today is to explain. The purpose of reading today is to, right, is to. But that was never attractive to kids. That did not, it failed the sexy test that I talk about with essential questions. Kids didn't get that. And so what I've done is I've rebranded things, right? We're talking about these 4 reading realms, what they are, why we need them, and how we're expected to engage with them. So that is, like I said, that's where the reading realms began. So what are they? There are 4. The first realm I call my realm. This is the space where we talk about independent reading. The second realm is our realm. This is when we do things like whole class novels, things that we do together with reading. Then there is the real realm. That's when we are really tackling things like nonfiction, arguing, right, synthesis and looking at articles. And then there's the why realm, right? That's when we're looking at things like rhetorical analysis or persuasive speeches and things like that. These are really the 4 realms that I find to be the most important and worth building units around. There are definitely other things that maybe fall onto your plate depending on what standards your school follows. But I think less is more. Always, I say less is more. So let me break it down for you. So in my realm, what the direct conversation is with students is the goal when we are here, when we are in my realm, is to build your reading identity. It's reading for you. It's reading for you to grow and figure out what kind of a reader you are, what you enjoy, to dig deeper into topics that light you up and that you're passionate about. This is an area of your reader experience that is focused entirely on you. And so when we are in that realm, I set some parameters. I talk about that a lot in the webinar. What the parameters are when we are in my realm, here are the things to expect. So I give them some mantras, some mindsets, and it becomes this like very clear space that's defined that when we're in this realm, this is what to expect. Then when we're in our realm, the goal here is to build intellectual perseverance. So even with just those first two, right, you can hear that there is a difference in what we're hoping to achieve. When we're in my realm, we're trying to achieve a sense of my identity and pleasure. When we're in our realm, we're trying to challenge ourselves. To build intellectual perseverance is about things being hard in an effort to make us stronger. So they're two different spaces. And so we don't have to treat both of those spaces with the same kind of reading energy. In the real realm, I teach students that the reason that we engage here with articles and nonfiction and research, things like that, is that we're building our strategic efficiency. We're able to get in and get out and get what we need. We're able to track, trace, label, identify, and like find threads. We're not trying to experience this ginormous thematic experience. It's not the same as our realm. It's not the same as my realm. It's very, very different in that we're working with reading as a tool here. It's not a story. You're a detective, not an audience. So that's a huge differentiation point there. And then finally, in the Y realm, this is where we are building critical discernment. We have to engage with the Y realm so that we are not duped, fooled, manipulated. In each of these four realms, and the reason that I teach them as four separate things is so that students can lock and unlock parts of their brains on purpose. If we teach reading as this kind of 4-in-1 experience, right? Like, I'm not going to lie, like a 2-in-1 shampoo conditioner is not where it's at, my friends. Like, my hair doesn't do well. I need shampoo to do what shampoo does. I need conditioner to do what conditioner does. And then I need a mask to do what a mask does because I have blonde hair. Okay. So I need all of those different things to do their specialty. And so I want my students to recognize a couple of things. One, that reading an article is not the same as reading a story, but that's pretty surface, right? They pretty much know that. But it's about the energy they bring to it, and it's about my expectations of them, right? I want to either kind of let them off the hook for certain things, but then raise the bar on other things. And in order to do that, we have to block out the other noise. And students and I need to know, where are we? Where are we on the map? Where are we focusing right now? And that's the real heart of differentiating those experiences. And you can do that. I talk about it in the webinar. You can do that through kind of breaking the units out with these as kind of like the threads or the headings. But a lot of units are going to combine these reading realms, and that's perfectly and totally natural. But lesson by lesson and text by text, I really work hard to help my students know where we are now tackling this article, now watching this presidential speech, listening to this poem being performed. So that's the heart of the realms. And I'm so interested to hear if you have attended the webinar or if you have questions about this. I'm going to be sharing a lot more about it in the 2026 calendar year because I have a lot of resources that I finally have gotten a chance to organize and share with everyone. So this is something that I hope you can bring back to your actual real life team and discuss with them. Not even if you like the realms, that's awesome. I would love to tell you more about them, but do we do enough work to help our students zoom in on the task at hand? Do they know that when we're doing a whole class novel, that my goal actually is not for them to love the book. It's not for them to add it to their personal list of favorites. If that was my goal, we'd be in my realm. I'd be giving them books based on their interest and their joy. We're not there right now. Right now, we're here because in this realm, I need to build your stamina, with things that are difficult. I need to introduce you to some concepts that you would never hear about if you weren't in my class learning right now, if you weren't in school. So I hope that that gives you something to think about. And you can check out the webinar, the link in the description below in the show notes. And I hope that you all have a wonderful week at school. You've got lots to think about and talk about with your team. And you have an excellent and wonderful day. Bye-bye. Thanks again for listening to Brave New Teaching.
We'd love to keep the conversation going over on Instagram.
And while you're there, check out the links in our bio for the most up-to-date events going on in Happy Hour and the Brave New Teaching community.
Thanks for being here and have a great week at school.